We are on the program Jones and Company in this final segment of our program, and you know, Dr. Bai, you had mentioned how we are going to reduce the level of violence and criminality in the society, and I guess the Jumpstart program and teaching people about citizenship and bringing a higher level of discipline,
awareness,
in our young people is extremely important.
Very important.
You know, I host a radio show and people call that show from time to time and talk about fights that take place on our streets among students. Teaching just civility, how to be civilized, civil.
That's correct.
You know,
conflict.
You know, recently the UNESCO, in their goals for 2030 vision, said that, look, long past are the days when we must only look at education as the cognitive. Social education must be part and parcel of what we're now doing. They are finding out that the world, I mean, there's wars and rumors of, I mean, on all fronts. People can't get along.
Right.
And so this is why we have implemented, and we are raring to go. We are waiting for the staff to be able to really put these things throughout the country and move forward.
Yeah, because I've said that violence is not only using a gun or a knife or a stick, but violence is how you speak to people,
humanity,
and how you deal with people, how you interact with people, and you can interact very violently.
That's correct.
Yes, and these type things ought to be taught very early in our schools. How to be kind.
That's correct.
Yes.
Right.
From K classes is where we have it.
I can tell you, I have a program called Super Me, and it's being taught among primary school age students. We were piloting this program, I think, at a number of primary schools, but I picked one in particular, Columbus Primary. There was a group of students at the primary level. They couldn't get along. They were, I mean, not doing well in school, fighting, carrying on. And this teacher put all the effort she could in this program. And at the end of the day, the students became a family. They were helping each other. If you came to school without lunch, you can eat with me.
Something.
I can make sure. They were helping the janitress. They were helping the teacher. They started to do their homework.
Yes.
And so we know that these things can work. We have to raise the price tag on each child. I went to the prison one day helping out social services, and I looked and I said, hey, why are you young men in here? And really, they were looking like me. And I said, but we all black men together. Why are we coming to prison? I said, I don't really see the other side of the color coming into this. And I said, why? So one fella said, because they got it. I said, got what? Money and thing and so forth. I said, oh, that's the problem. I said, no. We have to rethink this whole thing and start looking at life and realize that God has made each of us important.
Yes.
And our curriculum must lend itself to that, you know.
Yes.
When I grew up with the textbook Dick and Dora. Dick and Dora was a different hue for me. I learned to appreciate that hue. I didn't learn to appreciate me, so my textbook must now reflect me. My little nutty here, if you want to call it nutty, which many people do. I don't know why, because it's good here.
Yes.
But that's the way our culture, our brain has made us what we are.
It's a question of teaching people respect for self.
That's correct.
And developing a sense of self.
That's correct.
And that is what we are missing in our schools.
That is true.
We had a pastor on, I see Godfrey raring to go, but we'll come to you right now. We had a pastor on radio talking about how people behave at Carnival. Well, people behave badly, some of them, because they lack respect for self.
That is correct.
And they have no sense of self, because they've not been taught to respect self.
Right.
And your program ought to deal with that as well. Mr. Anius?
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that the educational system in the Bahamas has concentrated too much on reading and writing and these things, right? And not
That's
enough
what we're saying now.
on analysis. Let me tell you what I mean by that. I know the bell-shaped curve, you know, right? I may study agriculture, but I know a lot about education and behavior because I deal with farmers, all right? And you have to learn early adopters and late adopters, all right? And it seems that in your system, you are not identifying the late adopters, all right? And that is why you're having these problems, these behavioral problems, because you have not have done the proper analysis of these students in the 12-year period which you've had them. All right? And as a result, you have people falling through the cracks.
Yeah.
All right? Because you all educators haven't used the bell-shaped curve.
Right.
And so it is never too late to start.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, you know, we are going to find a way to deal with the many issues that we have in our country today. And it is good that we have these two wonderful guests on our program today who are able to speak very
Adroitly.
adroitly, yes, Godfrey, that's a good word, about the Jumpstart program. I was going to say authoritatively before Mr. Enos put that word in my mouth.
Passionately.
Passionately and authoritatively to what they are doing in this new student development division.
The program is in good hands, Mr. Jones. I think these two professionals, I would tell Mr. Lloyd the program is in good hands.
The program is in good hands. And how long have you been doing this, both of you?
Well, like I said, I was doing it for as long as I was teaching for some 47, going to 48 years. But,
it's about time.
But now I have crystallized it and made it a division that we could really give focus to it
Some work done.
from a national standpoint.
Well, you have some more miles to go. Here you mentioned 47, 48, but you have many miles to go. And how long have you been involved?
Well, I started out dealing with youth from just doing charities. Like, I'm a member of the Red Cross, and I always started out from even a PTA president, dealing with different programs, setting up programs within the school, learn to read and different things like that. And so over the years doing it, you know, different people kept calling me, different ministers kept coming on, and, you know, I had to deal with them to ensure that we have some things in place to try to elevate our children, you know, like social programs, entertainment programs. You know, entertainment has to be in there because I believe in accelerating the arts as well, you know, as you spoke about different talents that we sometimes cover or sometimes don't identify. You know, the Bible even talked about it, you know, how, you know, one person had 10, one person had 1. You know, some people just have a lot of talents and they're shaded, like Dr. Barr said, because of whether a teacher, a parent, or somebody, no, you can't, you can't, you can't. And so we have to reform and restructure. The mind is where everything starts of the youth to say, listen, I can do all things. So if I feel like I want to be an artist, like you said, and you're a journalist, you could do them both. Why not? And so when we start to get that mindset change, then definitely you're going to have that new, you know, vibe to move forward positively.
You're changing modalities in education, yes? And this is a new model.
Yes.
Yes. And you have seen the success over the many years, but you want to accelerate the program.
That is correct. When I travel to those foreign countries that I name, and I tried to ascertain whether they had something similar, and they said, no, we are grappling. We are having issues like you. But do let us know, once you would have run your program, let us know of your success, that we too can follow the same.
Yes.
Mr. Jones, just before you go, I would be remiss if I came here and not mentioned that we had not just the Ministry of Education paying all that money to BTVI to have that program done. We had external partnerships with citizens, and this is what we beg for, where Breezes was a big partner with me. We had Leisure Travel Tours, bus company who took all of my students to the different field trips that I did at the end of the program to the Defense Force to see how they work there in different places. We had the community church. Yes, through there, and they really were very helpful with us, you know, to say, let us use their hall for graduation. BTVI and different people gave me gowns. The Albinus Agency gave me food to host a function for them. So I'm saying, no matter how small it is, the partnership is always great. Citizens came forward and helped us with buying trophies. And so you want to just keep having that coming in. We don't push anyone away as it relates to what you can contribute, because we all as a nation need to help these youth to get...
You need civil society involved.
Yes, sir.
Let me say that I know Minister is very passionate about education at its earliest stage, and you heard him enumerating about the preschool starting at age 3. Yes, to ensure that we have them in the various centers, even if churches could partnership, etc., to get those facilities. And that is a very important thing, because as you mentioned earlier, we have to start from the earliest of our kids' learning curve, so that at the end of the day, they will grow with this type of behavior in mind.
And we do have churches that partner with us, by the way. Yes, we have. We call them some of our centers as well. We have Living Waters. You know, we have Kemp Roads Ministry, right?
We have Dave Boris Youth and Family, Bethel Baptist,
so we send
Abundant Life.
Yes.
All of these are partners in this exercise.
Very good.
In fact, it's a part of what is called the Northeastern Pastors Alliance.
Very good.
And so we have an executive body that meets from time to time. We have just rolled out a few things.
It takes the entire community
many more
coming together.
Yes,
very much so.
To raise children.
Yes.
I said to a pastor on the program on Friday that, you know, when you see the level of crime reduced in the country, it is a number of organizations and entities working together to reduce the level of crime and violence. It's not just the police.
Not just the police.
But you have the school, the home, the church,
everybody.
Leaders in community, even media.
That's correct.
That's how it was.
Absolutely.
Back then.
Yes.
You know, if your postmistress, your nurse, your doctor, anybody saw you on the road doing anything, they would correct you, and it would have been no problem from the parent, you know, aspect. And so we need to get back to some basics.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Barr and Ms. Chipman, for coming here today.
You're welcome.
And she came at very short notice, and we thank you so very much. Thank you, Godfrey Ines.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for accommodating us as well. Appreciate it so much.
No problem at all. Come again. Come back to see us soon. Thank you so very much for watching and listening to our program today. Good evening, everyone.